Scripture tells us we make our own plans, but the Lord decides where we will go. He is the ultimate decision maker. You know, sometimes when you have a problem or a concern about something, well, let's say that you purchase an item and for whatever reason that item is not working for you, doesn't do what you thought it would do, whatever the case may be. And you call and you try to explain your problem to someone. They don't seem to understand. They just don't seem to get it. So what do? You ask for a manager. And when you speak to the manager and that doesn't work, then you ask for the manager's manager. And when that is unsuccessful, you will ask to speak to someone who has the power to make a decision. I know some of you have businesses and services and events and great things going on, and you've been saying things like, how can I get the word out? How can I get more people to know about who I am, what I do, and what I have going on? I know you've said it because I've said it, and I thought, what better place for information than when life speaks? So here we go. Life happens, and it can come in the form of devastating health challenges, causing you to look for highly skilled, technical nursing care for a friend or a loved one. You are looking for services allowing the person to be at home outside of an intensive care unit or an institution. You're looking for I Am Unique Special Care and Case Management, a home care agency. I Am Unique serves both pediatric and adult clients who are on ventilators with trachs and G-tubes. I Am Unique just might be the agency that you need. Give them a call at 800-566-8648. That's 800-566-8648, and explore the possibilities. That's I Am Unique Special Care and Case Management, a home care agency. Anybody out there have a sweet tooth? Oh, you can tell me. I know somebody out there does, and you want to let me know about it because I have something for you. It is called Candy Cakes, Treats, and More. That's right. Anytime you are in the mood for a sweet treat, or you want something for yourself, or maybe you want to bless someone else, you need to check out Candy Cakes, Treats, and More. They have an Oreo cheesecake bar that is, I can't. I would love to tell you about it, but I just don't have the words for it. It is just that good. So be sure to check them out. That's Candy Cakes, Treats, and More. They are at CandyCakes.com. That's CandyCakes.com. Candy Cakes, Treats, and More, making your life sweeter, one bite at a time. For wedding films, documentaries, commercials, and live events, check out Film Studios. That's film spelled F-E-E-L-M. And at Film Studios, they believe stories are better told when you can feel what you see. They add their touch to your vision so your story can touch the world. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook. That's Film Studios, F-E-E-L-M. Studios. Well, as all of you know, this is Mother's Day weekend coming up, and I wanted to share this with you. This is definitely part of God's plan for you this evening. I love words. I love them, and will often look up their meanings and get inspired to write a piece of some sort. So I looked up the word mother, and this is what I found. Mother, a female parent, acting as or providing parental stock, to give birth to, source or origin, to care for or protect. Traditionally, Mother's Day is set aside to honor women who have children. However, based on the dictionary definition, to celebrate Mother's Day is to celebrate women. Women everywhere will be celebrated this weekend. But I want to start early, so just stay with me because my special guest this evening has not only birthed beautiful, talented children, but she births the most amazing music. And this music is a source of inspiration and courage that can have you go into places of hope that you may not have ever known existed. She is worship leader Cinnamon Ruth Leggett. So don't go away. We're going to tell you about some great people, and then we'll be talking to our special guest. I know I said before the break that I had some great people that I wanted to talk about. And I know you're wondering to yourself, who are these great people that she's going to tell us about on this show tonight? Well, I tell you what, I'm talking about you. Yes, I am talking about you. One of the most encouraging things we can do is to let people know that we appreciate them. Is to let them know that they matter to us, to let them know that they are loved, that they are cared about. And so I say to you out there tonight, you are great. You're an awesome person. You have gifts, you have talents. I'm talking to the teacher out there that supplies the needs of the children in her classroom, even when the government doesn't. I'm talking to the single mom out there that is raising children on her own the best that she knows how. I believe for you. I believe for you today. And I am talking about the musicians and the artists and the construction worker. Yeah, we got some women who are in construction out there, and thank you for doing what you do. I'm talking about the ministers and the preachers and all of those, the evangelists, those who go about delivering the word to the lost. I thank you for what you do. You are appreciated. I thank you for every person who has taken the time out to not only come on to When Life Speaks, but to make a comment to encourage me along the journey. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I want you to know that I believe for you today. I believe that God has something planned for your life that only He can do, and it will come to pass. I believe a dream you've put on hold will begin to stir within you once again, and this time the outcome will be so much greater than you anticipated. I believe in healing for you and miracles for you and prosperity for you and favor for you and wisdom for you. I believe those things for you because I believe there is greatness in you, and I want you to believe it too.
You're too big for error. You're too wise for mistakes. You are a mighty God, perfect in all your ways. You were here before my first breath, and you'll be here when nothing else is left. You are a mighty God, forever and always. Say you're too, hey, forever, you're too wise for mistakes. Yeah, you are mighty, perfect in all your ways. Hey, you were before my first breath, hey, and you'll be here, God, when nothing else is left. You are forever and always. Oh, you love me in spite of my flaws, and you hold me close. Hey, in the midst of it all, God, you're a present help when I am in need. Hey, and so I'm grateful that you won't give up. Here's why, 'cause you love me. When no one else would, you kept me. When no one else could, thank you for being God. Thank you for being God.
Well, I tell you what, I have been waiting for this moment all day long. Well, actually, that's not quite true. I've been waiting for this moment all week long, and I hope that you are as excited as I am, because our special guest this evening is Cinnamon Ruth Leggett. Welcome, Cinnamon. Are you there?
I am. Hello, hello. How are you?
I am doing great. I hope you're doing well this evening. And I want my listeners who are sending in comments to comment welcome to Miss Cinnamon out there, and also send up some hearts so she'll know that she is loved this evening. And I just thank you so much, Cinnamon, for taking time out to be with our listeners. And I tell you, I have known Cinnamon for quite a while, and I should say known kind of in passing, because we were at the same church for a long time. But I've just recently come to get to know her a little better. And I don't want to introduce her, because I always like for people to introduce themselves. So, Cinnamon, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go on and talk about how you came to be the wonderful, wonderful musician that you are.
Thank you. Thank you. You're kind, Dr. Hines. So Cinnamon Ruth Leggett is my name. I was born Cinnamon Ruth. I married a Leggett, so then I became Cinnamon Ruth Leggett. But I've been singing my whole life, but when I met Mr. Leggett, I wasn't a Leggett yet, but when I met Mr. Leggett, I was leading worship on a very, very small scale, like the beginnings of like singing, right, with a praise team. And from there went on to open a music school. I guess I probably should back up. So I took a sabbatical from singing for a long time because I was raising children. And then I decided to pick that back up and start to sing, and then joined a couple praise teams, started kind of learning, how to do it in the praise team setting, because, it used to be choirs, right? Like you used to sing with a choir and not really a praise team. So learned how to do that, met Mr. Leggett, decided to open up a music school. Music school closed down. Church closed down, but I still kept leading worship. And so here I am all these years later, picked all of that back up, and I've been leading worship now, steady, solid for the last 10 years. I play piano. What else can I tell you? I'm based here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but we do travel to a lot of different places.
Originally, Cinnamon, where are you from originally?
I'm from the Bronx. I'm a Bronx girl, and came to North Carolina and picked up this Southern way, which I love. And so now I think I'm like a country Puerto Rican. So I'm Puerto Rican, and picked up this kind of country Southern gospel-y way, and I love it. I love it.
Well, I tell you, we love you, and we are so glad you made your way to North Carolina because we are enjoying all of the things that you are doing musically, and just you are so gifted in so many areas. And you have 2 daughters, right?
Yes, I have 2 daughters, Brianna Joy Langford. She's married now, so she's a Langford, and Kaylin Elizabeth Leggett. Yes, so they're older girls.
Kaylin dances, right? Is she the one that dances?
Yes, she dances.
I know one of them dances and one plays guitar.
Yes, so one dances, one plays guitar and sings. So she accompanies herself behind the guitar and piano.
Awesome. That is awesome. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Now, recently I heard you tell a story about how you came to play piano, and it made me think of something that I had posted earlier in the year. Make a move, take a step, try and try again. And I tell you, yours is a story of try and try again.
This is the truth, yes.
Can you tell the listeners a little bit about how you came to play piano?
Yeah, so in 2008, I did not know how to play piano. So we're actually talking about exactly 10 years ago. Like I said earlier, I've always sung. I came from a musical family, and we sung all the time. But I knew nothing about playing the piano. So in 2008, I met a set of pastors who, one of them kind of came to me privately and said, you know, your place is behind the keyboard. It wasn't a piano that they had there at the church at the time. It was a keyboard. And he said, your place is behind the keyboard. And I thought, okay. You know, I kind of kept going. And he said it again. And I thought, okay, that's nice. Uh-huh. And he said, no, I don't think you understand. Your place is behind the keyboard. And he had said it enough times. He said it so many times that I eventually thought, I don't think that this is just someone just saying something anymore. I think I probably should start listening a little bit more intently, because this is like the 10th or 12th time that this person has said this. And so I remember the final time that he said it, when I made the choice to believe what he was saying. I still had no idea how it was going to happen, because remember, that meant that playing the piano meant that I was going to be singing and playing. So not just playing, but accompanying myself and doing this all at the same time. And if you've ever, like, tried to, like, you know, pat your head, rub your belly, that is the experience. And I thought, okay, how is this going to happen? And I remember weeping. I just wept and wept, because I recognized in the moment that it wasn't just a human being that was saying something, but it was God himself that was using the human being to say something to me. And so I had to make a choice in that moment. Was I going to believe what was being said? And then the second thing that I had to do, it was a 3-step process, right? Like, my ears had to open up to hear what was being said. I had to believe what was being said. And then the next thing I did was apply myself, because believing something is not enough. It's not enough, and many times we hear prophetic words, is what we call it in our Christian arenas, right? We hear these prophetic words, and we see things, and we think they're falling, you know, to ground that's not good ground, and we don't see them growing up. But maybe it's really our fault, right? Maybe we're not taking the 3rd step to apply. So,
that could be very true.
Yeah. So I decided to apply myself, and the application process took a long time. I would hide myself in the basement, but I believed as strongly as I could that this was going to happen. But my beginning stages, they were pretty rocky, you know, and I remember being kind of thrown up there on a platform, and all I knew how to play was How Great Is Our God. But I practiced How Great Is Our God as best I could in the key of C. And I'll never forget practicing one evening in the basement, and I was just, you know, practicing my little C chords, because I only knew how to play one scale, the key of C, all the white notes, but I knew how to worship. And I remember having this conversation with the Father, and the Father said, just watch me for a minute. I just want you to play a C chord, and then I want you to play an F chord, and now just go back and forth. And I will never forget how lost I got in that basement for hours with 2 chords. And it was then that I realized that this wasn't a complicated process. Now, I had a lot to learn, but in the area of worship, it doesn't take much at all. The only thing it does take is a willing heart. And, you know, I use those 2 little chords today, even though I have a whole library full of chords and full of fancy stuff. when I feel pressured or uncomfortable, or I'm scared or worried, or maybe I'm on a platform performing in front of many, or maybe I feel some apprehension in the room, I go back to those two chords. I go back to the beginning place to comfort myself. Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you this: you have come a long way from those two chords. That's for sure. And we have been enjoying some of your music we did on the last show, and even today we've been hearing some of the music that you have. And you mentioned worship, and we were talking about women birthing things, and you have birthed something very, very beautiful. And as a matter of fact, those of you who are watching this on Facebook may have seen, I have these, what I call my wall of people, places, and things, and you may have seen something on there that says the worship box. And I want Cinnamon to tell you about the worship box. It is absolutely beautiful. Tell us what's in it, tell us why you did it, and tell us what you hope the worship box will do for others.
Yeah. So the worship box, just the logistics of it is it's a black keepsake box, and inside of the box are two T-shirts, one black and one white, and they have the brand Worship on it. You have a journal that's inside of the box, and you also have a worship CD. Now, something that's very special about the box is that it also comes with partner items, which means that others that have the same vision of the worship box can include things inside of the box to help people along their worship journey, which takes me to the vision of the box and why we did it. So as a worship leader, you're always trying to turn your life inside out, right? Like show what God is doing on the inside and expressing it sort of through music and through song on the outside. And I was sitting one day and I just thought, wouldn't it be so neat to have like all this stuff in a box and gift it to somebody so that if they're having a hard time or as they go along their worship journey, they have something to wear, they have something to listen to, they have something to journal in, because I, over these last months, have needed a reminder of the power, the necessity, and the impact of worship. And so in that moment, I thought, if I'm in need of that, if I'm in need of being able to put something physically on that helps me to remember that worship has power and that this is my way out of every situation I might find myself in. If I need that, then why wouldn't someone else? And so the worship box is a keepsake box. It's a giftable box intended to be given to someone else as an encouragement. And, of course, you don't know where they're at in their journey, so that's the joy of it, that you give this box to someone and allow God to take it the rest of the way.
Now, Cinnamon, how can they find out more about the worship box? Where would they go?
Yeah, so you can go to www.cinnamonruthleggett. That's Leggett with two G's and two T's.com. So that's cinnamonruthleggett.com. There you'll see a tab for the worship box. The worship box has its own page with a whole bunch of fun stuff on there and some instructions. We're on Instagram. We're obviously on Facebook. We're on Twitter. But that's where they can go to find out more about the worship box. They can also purchase the worship box right there on that page. And at the bottom of the page, they can select Become a Partner. And there's also a description of what becoming a partner looks like.
Oh, great. That is awesome. I know that I am a partner, and I have put When He Whispers that I read from sometimes on the poems of that book is sometimes in the worship box. And we're actually almost out of time, Cinnamon, but I want to ask you about one more thing before we go, because when we see people who are successful and sometimes, we hear their music and we think, okay, so she's been playing since she's been born, apparently, because your music is so fluid and so beautiful. But it doesn't necessarily mean that life for you is without challenges. And I want you to do something for me, if you're comfortable, to tell our listeners about two of the challenges you faced and how worship brought you out of that, or whether there was a particular word or circumstance that allowed you to speak life in those difficult situations.
So the first situation that comes to mind is the losing of the studio that I had. I lost that studio last year. But I had spent a lot of time building up the courage to begin the studio, and I spent a lot of money because I believed that it was the time and it was the season. I just believed it was time to do it. So we went ahead and we opened the studio, and surprisingly, 3-4 months later, we were asked to depart, and it was heartbreaking. We were asked to depart not because of something that had happened, but because of a misunderstanding of what we do, and I guess the visions of where we were didn't line up with the owners there. But it wasn't any less heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for me, and I saw my dream kind of come to pass by what I thought God was saying, and with the labor of my hands and labor of money, and I also saw what I perceived to be it falling apart. It was absolutely heartbreaking, and all I knew how to do in the moments that was happening was worship. And actually, I have a poem called Cinnamon's Worship Song that was given to me by someone very, very special, because when that studio closed down, there were many words that I could not say or express because I just didn't have the words. I was too heartbroken. It took me days and days, but I'm so grateful for the gift of worship, because I believe that our hearts say things without our words having to say it. And it just took me a couple of days, and I believe the Father just held me in his arms until I recuperated. And then there was another situation some months later. My husband got very, very sick, and we're talking about a very healthy 37-year-old man who all of a sudden was losing weight rapidly, losing blood, and had some growths, and we thought, oh, my goodness, is this happening to us? You know, we hear the big C word, you know, the big cancer word, and it was extremely scary. We spent a combination of about 10 days in the hospital, and he was very, very sick. And in that moment, I actually didn't even have worship to give, to be very honest. I didn't have words to say. I didn't have words to pray. I was numb. I was numb. I wasn't sure what to do. But you know what? The power of the people around you is very, very, very important for you to recognize the strength of the people around you, because people around me were praying, people around me were worshiping, people around me were encouraging me, and they were doing what I couldn't even do for myself until I came back to myself. But it took days. We were so scared. It took like 2 weeks, actually. But those are two very trying moments, and, you know, I'm a worship leader, but that doesn't mean that I'm without, or that we as a family are without the trials that come in just general life.
Exactly. But somehow, God always has a way. He always has a way of hearing our prayers, of answering our prayers, of sending the right people around us, like you said, those people who have the power to get you through and help you through in those difficult moments. And I just thank you for that, and I thank you for being transparent with the things that you shared with us this evening. And I cannot believe it, but we are out of time for our interview tonight. I could talk to you forever, you know that. But CRL Studios is live and well, and Cinnamon teaches voice, and she teaches piano, and she also is a producer of things like YouTube channels for people like me who are out there sharing points of power, and I do appreciate everything that you do, Cinnamon. And one last thing about your worship box. Now, this is a moment of, audience or listener participation. This is what I want you to do. Those of you who are listening to this broadcast, between now and, let's see, this is Thursday night, Saturday at noon, between now and Saturday at noon, I want you to go to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com and just give me your name and the time that you listen to the show, because the broadcast is available after the show is over. Go to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. Give me your name and tell me when you were listening. And I am going to gift a worship box to a lucky listener. So you got your instructions. You want to go and send me an email to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. I'm going to have a drawing, and next show, I'm going to tell you who won the May giveaway of this beautiful worship box by Cinnamon Ruth Leggett. Cinnamon, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I hope you will come back and visit with us again here at When Life Speaks. And you just be as blessed as you can possibly be as you bless so many of us, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Hines. Thank you.
We'll be right back. You guys hang in there.
Thank you, Lord. I just want to thank you, Lord. I just want to thank you, Lord. You've been so good. Been so good. You have been so good. Lord, I just want to thank you, Lord.
Hi, this is Cinnamon Ruth Leggett, and you're listening to Worship in D-Flat, produced by CRL Studios in Raleigh, North Carolina, and featured in the Worship Box. For more information, visit www.cinnamonruthleggett.com. Thanks for listening.
My heart just wants to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Every day, oh, I thank you, God. I thank you, Lord. Every moment I thank you, Lord. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank.
You know, we never want to close a show without acknowledging the goodness and the grace and the mercy of a loving God. And I just thank him so much, and I thank you so much for everything that happens here on When Life Speaks. And you know, I asked you to send me a quote or a word from the word or verse or something that encourages you, that when you are at that place where you don't know where to turn, there is a word that you hold on to. And tonight I am happy to say that we had two ladies who called us or let us know that their word in the word was exactly the same. And that word is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And we give our shout outs to Robin Stevens Ellison Hamilton of Martinsville, Indiana, and Carnethia Robinson from right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Amplified Bible reads, "Trust in and rely confidently on the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. In all your ways, know and acknowledge and recognize him, and he will make your path straight and smooth, removing obstacles that block your way." The Good News Translation says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Never rely on what you think you know. Remember the Lord in everything you do, and he will show you the right way." And the Message Bible reads, "Trust God from the bottom of your heart Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything you do. Everywhere you go, He's the one who will keep you. And you know, we've been talking about trusting Him. We've been talking about our plans versus His plans. And we've been talking about relying on Him and not relying on what we think or what we would like to believe is going to happen in our lives. But you know, when I think about the show today and think about it being close to Mother's Day and the encouraging word found in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, and what it means to trust in the Lord, trusting and believing, I also thought of the woman who trusted God, in my opinion, like no one ever had, and that was Mary, a virgin visited by an angel and told she would bring forth the Savior of the world. Even though she didn't understand it all, she trusted the word of the Lord, saying, "Be it unto me according to thy word." She didn't rely on her own insight or understanding. She trusted. And that's what we have to do. We have to hear the voice of the Lord. We have to trust the voice of the Lord. We have to believe the word of the Lord. Just like Cinnamon had to do, just like I have to do, just like you have to do, just as Mary had to do. Now listen. Listen to Cinnamon sing, "Be it unto me."
An angel spoke, a life was changed, a young girl's dreams were rearranged, a bigger dream, a better plan. Through Mary, God came down to man. She traveled far and wide to another town, and when a room could not be found, she found a place to spend the night, and there she bore the world's great light. Let it be with me according to your word. Let me bring hope to the hopeless and joy to those who mourn. Let it be me. Let it be me. Let me deliver Christ the Lord.
Well, we have come to the close of another broadcast. And I just thank you for being with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tagging. Thank you for letting somebody else know about When Life Speaks. And a huge thank you to Cinnamon Ruth Leggett, who was my special guest this evening, taking time out of her busy schedule to be with us. I tell you, life has been speaking tonight. It has been speaking through music, through personal testimonies, through the word. And I just know that there has been something that has encouraged somebody else to hang in, to hold on, to trust, to believe, and to know that they can speak life. Until next Thursday, because you know we're here every Thursday at 7 p.m., you can follow me on Twitter at HisPen2, that's the number 2. You can also go to the YouTube channel, Andrea L. Hines, and get your points of power. When you're there, be sure to share, hit notifications, so that you will know when a new broadcast is available. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your faith. Thank you for showing me love. You can contact me on my Facebook page. You can also contact me through email at speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. Until next week, just remember that when life speaks, you can speak life. Take care. God bless.
When Life Speaks was produced by Film Studios for the Streaming Inspiration Broadcast Network and Women of Essence Network Radio and TV.